Accounting equation and Excel. Bank reconciliation month 2, part 2. Get ready and some coffee because we're about to learn the accounting foundation, the accounting equation using Excel. Here we are in Excel. If you don't have access to this workbook, that's okay because we basically built this from a blank worksheet but started in a prior presentation. So if you want to build this entire worksheet from a blank sheet, you could begin back there or just construct your own worksheet as we go, or possibly just follow along with that good old paper and pencil. If you do have access to this workbook, though, 4 tabs down below: example, month 1, practice, month 2, example, in essence, the answer key, month 1, prior month of operations, the practice tab having pre-formatted cells so you can practice the practice problem with less Excel formatting. Month 2 tab, the one we will be working in, is where we started with a blank worksheet but are basically working within a template at this time. However, we will be adding to that template as needed as we go, practicing our Excel tools and formatting as we do so. Let's go to the example tab to get an idea of what we will be doing. Remembering we've basically been building our bookkeeping system using the accounting equation as a trial balance from which we constructed our major financial statements: balance sheet, income statement, statement of equity. We're now looking at one of the major internal controls, that being the bank reconciliation, something needed, something necessary for all business doing bookkeeping, whether large, whether small, whether on a cash basis or an accrual basis, whether using accounting software or doing it in Excel. And so that's where we are now. We're on the second bank reconciliation. If I scroll all the way to the right, we've been putting this together manually, and we have constructed, in essence, we pulled in our general ledger information, and we're going to take that information and now build the cleared balance worksheet, which is similar to the worksheet that you would typically use in accounting software, constructing the cleared balance, which is not the bank reconciliation, but is the worksheet that allows the software then to create the bank reconciliation. So let's go back on over, keeping in mind that we want to remember that we are in the second month of operations, and so we don't usually have that beginning balance issue, but we want to have an idea of what is happening with the outstanding items from the prior month. And what does it mean to have the beginning balance as a cleared balance versus the balance that's actually on the reports as of the cutoff date, in this case, the end of February. So I'm just going to start off on the left-hand side. You'll recall that we took this information, which is basically the general ledger and the dates, and we went all the way to the right here in order to create, in essence, a general ledger format, a running balance format of our data as we saw here. And then we did some checking between this information and our bank statement for the second month. Here's the second month bank statement. Now, last month, we had the ending balance of the $61,241.85, which is now equivalent to the cleared balance in our system. It's not equivalent to what is in our accounting system as of 12/31 because there's a timing difference, but it is equal to the cleared balance that we have in our system. That pulls over to the beginning balance on the bank statement. Then we went through, and it was a kind of a tedious process, but we managed to check everything off, although we did make an error that I want to point out this time and show how the bank reconciliation process will help to point out that error. So let me just point it out right now. We ticked and tied everything off in our system, including the outstanding checks that are on our reconciliation from the prior period. And if they didn't clear in the prior period, they should clear in the current period. They may not, but if we have something that's outstanding for more than 2 months, then it becomes more worrisome that it's not going to clear, that there's an error, that we're going to have to basically void it or something like that. And then we have the outstanding deposits. We checked everything off in the current period that ties out to the bank statement. Now, the error that we had, I checked this one off, this 3549, which should have been this one, I believe, 3572, right? And I checked that off to this 3572. I believe that's the error. Now, that's because I did things kind of quickly last time and wasn't totally concentrating, which oftentimes you might do in a bank reconciliation, although you want to keep both the date in mind as well as the dollar amount and be more careful than that typically. But that'll give us an opportunity to see what will happen with our cleared balance and be able to catch that error as we continue with our bank reconciliation. So let's put together our worksheet that would be similar to a worksheet that you would see then in like a QuickBooks format. So I'm going to take the skinny over here. I'm going to select this skinny, Home tab, Clipboard, take the skinny. I'll make a skinny GL. And then we'll say this is going to be the beginning cleared balance. So the beginning cleared balance, I'll make this a little bit larger so I could see. I want it on this cell, so 2 cells over. And the cleared balance is going to be equivalent to basically the bank balance. It's our cleared balance, meaning everything that's been checked off, everything that's checked off in our system should tie exactly to the bank balance. So it should be equivalent to basically the beginning balance, right? Which is equivalent to last period's ending balance. And the system, our accounting system would know that, QuickBooks would know that, because those are all the things that we checked off. All the things that we checked off match exactly what's in the bank statement. That's what the bank reconciliation system does. The things that are not checked off aren't necessarily incorrect, but rather timing differences. Those are the differences between the accounting system in our books and the bank statement. Those are the reconciling items, which should just be timing differences. All right. Then we've got the cleared deposits, colon. And so let's pull in the deposits that have cleared. So now we're looking at all the ones that have cleared, which basically we have checked off. We want to look at the deposits. So we'll look at the deposits first. So this is going to be equal to, we could pick up the, and I'll pick up this deposit first over here. So let's pick up the date to 125, and I have to fix the date format. So let's select this format for the date, Home tab, Clipboard, Format Paint, and I'll paste this all the way down so that we have detail. And so then this is going to be equal to the 34079. So that was something that was outstanding last time. I should have picked it up from here. And now it cleared this time. So then I'm going to be picking up the activity in the current system, which I believe we made them yellow, right? So there's this one. This is going to be equal to the 12,250. I'll copy that down 2 more, and it should pick up the relative cell references. And then we have this one is going to be equal to this. That's going to be equal to the 400. And then, so I think that is it. So let's put an underline here, boom. And then I'm going to say this will be, let's copy this and say this is going to be copy, Control C, put this here and say total cleared deposits. I'll then sum this up on the outside. Equals the sum of those. We get to 51,982. 51,982. Does that match what we have over here? Yes. So now we see that this matches out, 51,982. That makes sense. So then let's go to the next bit, which is going to be the cleared checks and decreases, colon. I'll make this a little bit larger. All right, and so now we've got the checks that cleared. We have the uncleared items over here, so I'm going to pull those in. These ones have cleared. They were entered in January, but they're clearing in February. We check them off to the bank statement. So I'm going to copy that down. 2 more. So that goes down to the 200. And then I'm going to pick up this one. All right, remember, I think this one was an error and we should have picked it up, which we'll see, and we'll see the problem as we do this. So I'm going to say that's going to be this one. And so then on this side, we made these, the green ones. So we've got this one. This is going to be equal to that. I can copy that down one. And I'm going to make it a positive by flipping the sign. I put a negative in front of it to make it a positive. Copy that down. So there it is. And then this one is going to be equal this one, negative of that 180. So now we pull in all the green ones, making them all positive. Double clicking here, picking up the info, and I'm going to sneeze. Hold on a second. Whew. All right, I'm back. Bless me. I'll say total, and make this a little bit larger. We'll put an underline here. I think I'm getting sick. I can't get sick. It's busy season's coming up, man. This is not the time. I've got stuff to make, things to do. All right. That comes out to the 5992, and that does not tie out, I don't believe, to what we have here, which should be 11,633. So there's a big problem on that one. So I think in part I'm missing this one right here. So I didn't pick that one up. So I'm gonna insert it right here. I'm gonna select these, right click, insert, shift the cells down, and I'll put that one right here so it's kind of in order. Negative of that one. All right, that gets me up to the 9540. So we're still going to be off because it should be 11,633. 11,633. Okay, if I check this out a little bit more, there's going to be this 469. I have to pick that up. So maybe I pull this down one, and I'm going to say, all right, I need to pick this one up. On 228, I'll copy the formatting, pull that down, get rid of the underline here, and this one is going to be a positive 469. I'll pull down the formatting here, and then when I compare this out, I'm like, okay, there's still a problem. If I go and basically recheck all these off, I believe that this one I checked off here, but I didn't, it's not green. This 1080 is, I was sloppy, and I should have picked this one up right there, 1080. So let's go ahead and say that one, I think, should be picked up. So I'm going to pick that one up. I'm going to pull this down and put that one kind of in order. I'll copy the formatting. Oh no. Control Z. I'll copy the formatting and put it here. And then so this one should be 228 and it's 1080. I'm going to flip the sign. Okay, so that gets me to 1189, and we should be at 11,633. So I'm going to say, all right, it should be 11,633. We have a difference of 544. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. So I'm like, that's a problem. But let's finish it so we can see that our balance wouldn't tie out as well. So I'm going to say, all right, there's the sum of that. We're going to say the cleared balance then. Cleared balance is going to be equal to the beginning cleared balance minus the decreases plus the increases gives me the cleared balance of, let me do that again. I think I did that backwards. This should be equal to the beginning balance plus the deposits minus the checks and so on. There we go, 102, 134. And then the bank, let's say the bank ending balance shows 101,590 about. So 101,590. I'm taking off the pennies. And so the difference is going to be equal to this. By the way, you don't want to take off the pennies like in QuickBooks or something. They would be helpful to you. But I could say, okay, so there's the difference is going to be that 544. Now that is, of course, the same difference we had here. So if I was in QuickBooks, I would say, okay, I can't reconcile it, right? Because this would not be 0. So I can't reconcile it. What's the problem? Well, one is this 520. I can recognize, well, I didn't record that. So I need to put that into my QuickBooks system. So if I was in QuickBooks, I would add this to the QuickBooks system and then see where I would be. If I did that, that's 520. So if I went back on over here and said, all right, it should be 520. So here's my cleared balance, which should be decreased by another 520 once I enter that into QuickBooks. So it would be this 102, 134 minus the 520. This will be my balance after I enter that 520. And once again, I'll compare that to the bank balance, the 101, 590. The difference between those two is still off by 24. And so I still couldn't reconcile. You could force it to reconcile, but note that if you did that, then you wouldn't pick up the problem because there is a problem. So you should be able to get it to the point where it exactly ties out, right? Because it has to exactly tie out if we tick and tie everything off. So if I then go through here and say, okay, well, what was the problem? And I basically tick and tie these off, I'm going to come to the conclusion that I believe this 3572, I checked off the wrong one at the 3549. And what's the difference between those two? If I say the difference between those two is the $24, right? So I checked off the wrong one. So this one right here, I should not have checked off. I should make that one green. And instead, I should have checked off this one as having cleared for that 3572. And so here's the 3572. If I fix that over here, then I'm going to say this one, where did it? Now I lost it. Oh yeah, there it is. This one's coming from there. So it's coming from there, and it should be coming from there. So I'm going to just say, all right, this equals this one. Boom. Okay. So now I'm off by $1, and that's rounding. See, so now I'm off by $1. So everything lines. So once I adjust for this, I would be good. So when I'm at this point within QuickBooks, what would happen is I would then make the adjustment. I would go into the system and make this adjustment, and then I would be good. My balance would be down to 0 if I didn't remove the pennies and I didn't have rounding, and I want it to be exactly 0, including rounded to the penny in QuickBooks, which I'm kind of fudging a little bit here because I don't want to deal with pennies in here, but that would be the idea. Next time what we'll do is what we normally do in a book problem, which is do a bank reconciliation once again for the book side and then the bank side, and then we'll show the adjusting entry, which will be the book side adjustments, and then show the bank reconciliation after we do those adjustments, which will be similar to what would be in a software system. All right, so let's just do some formatting right now. I'm going to take this whole thing and make it just down to here. I'll make it blue and bordered in our worksheet. And then I'll put an underline under here and maybe under here. Well, wait, not right there. Why do you want one there? That's not where it goes. Let's put one like here, dude. All right, that's better. Let's do that instead. That's a good idea. And then I'll undo these. I'll keep these and I can delete. This is this sums up to 11,113, and we get here 11,633, which is off by 520. That makes sense. So this is off by 520. All right, I'm going to delete that. That's okay because I see it down here. Okay, so it's right there. So we don't need this. All right, so that's what we'll do. We'll stop it here for now. We're almost there.